This is the CBC Morning Report for Tuesday, July 4th. I'm Tisha Hines. Good morning. In our top story, the CARICOM celebrating 50 years. A number of special guests have expressed confidence in how the bloc has developed. Among them is Baroness Patricia Scotland, Commonwealth Secretary General, who spoke to the Morning Report from Trinidad and Tobago. The Dominican by birth recognizes it as an historical moment.
If you think about 50 years ago when CARICOM was first created, the hopes, the aspirations for the CARICOM was quite extraordinary, but it's prescient when you look at what they wanted. So to be here when the chair in office for the next 6 months is going to be Prime Minister Skerritt, a Dominican leading the Commonwealth Caribbean, and I have the great privilege of being the Dominican Secretary General of the Commonwealth to be here to congratulate everyone in CARICOM when you think about how much CARICOM's grown. So it is a poignant moment, a very special moment, and I must say a moment which I feel incredibly proud when I think of everything that the CARICOM family have achieved in the last 50 years.
She indicated what she sees as some of the accomplishments of CARICOM, among them the pressure which the region placed on apartheid.
Well, if you go back to the time when Sonny Ramphal was the Secretary General of the Commonwealth and led the battle on apartheid and bringing it to an end, you could see that the Caribbean was singularly important to that fight. I think Nelson Mandela, when he came out, gave credit to what happened in the Bahamas and the fact that the Bahamas were there pushing this agenda. So that's then. But then you look at the HIPC initiative, again pushed by the Caribbean. The issue in relation to climate change and the 1989 Commonwealth agreement that came from the Langkawi Declaration. Again, the Caribbean leaders were at the forefront of that initiative. You look then at the issues on debt and the level of indebtedness and the need to have a universal or a vulnerability index. The Commonwealth came up with that vulnerability index, but who was leading on that? The Caribbean. And if you look now at the issues with which we are dealing with in terms of the reform of the IFIs, the international financial institutions, once again, who is leading the push for that reform? The Caribbean. And when I look at the issues on climate finance, it's been heartbreaking to see the number of crises, climatic crises that this region has suffered in the last 50 years. And yet it was then President Jagdeo who led the group in the Commonwealth to say we needed to have a new financial instrument, which we then created when I, as the Caribbean Secretary General, took over in 2016. And with just over, tiny bit over 6 million pounds, we have delivered over $272 million worth of climate finance to our member states. We have 19 climate finance advisors. And so for every $1 we invested, we have delivered more than $48 worth of development aid. So these things have been led, spearheaded by the Caribbean and the Caribbean leaders. And I think there's a huge amount for us all to be incredibly proud of.
Now, in relation to the region's fight for climate financing and the recently concluded Paris talks, the Baroness believes we are on the path to get the assistance we need.
Because if you think about where we were, firstly on debt, I look back to 2016 when I first became Secretary General. We were arguing strongly that there was a direct correlation between these climate crises and the level of indebtedness of our member states. And if you remember, that was not accepted. And now it is. People can no longer question when you look at the empirical data there is a direct correlation between the level of indebtedness of our countries and the level of difficulty and debt we now have.
Coming up on the CBC Morning Report, additional reports in the CARICOM Heads of Government Summit. The Golden Jubilee of CARICOM was celebrated yesterday in Trinidad, the home of the Treaty of Chaguaramas. It was marked by pomp and ceremonies steeped in the heritage of the Caribbean in terms of its performances. The leaders of the 15-member bloc, along with special guests and a number of dignitaries, arrived for the occasion and were escorted to the stage by a number of school children. That was followed by entertainment by soloists and a number of groups. Secretary General of CARICOM, Dr. Carla Barnett, welcomed everyone. She extended gratitude to outgoing Chairman Philip Davis, the Prime Minister of the Bahamas, and congratulated incoming Chair Roosevelt Skerrit, the Prime Minister of Dominica. Dr. Barnett said there are a number of high-functioning agencies within CARICOM, such as CARFA and SEDIMA. She says the fight for food security is also advancing well.
The thrust to reduce our food import bill by 25% by 2025 is gathering momentum. The urgency of advancing our digital agenda is first-line priority, and our regional digital development strategy is also, therefore, gathering momentum. Through our Human Resource Development Strategy 2030, we are implementing our action plan to equip our young people with the tools necessary to function effectively in the 21st century.
Prime Minister Davis made it clear the region will not tolerate the epidemic of violence plaguing the grouping, which is adding costs to the high health systems. According to him, however, there is a strong cross-border cooperation to stop the trafficking of guns. He says they want to put an end to the export of illegal firearms from the U.S. to the Caribbean, and the visit of U.S. Vice President Kamala Harris will assist in this regard.
We thought that the visit itself indicated an enhanced seriousness of purpose in their stated commitment to engage more fully with the region. The Vice President's commitments to specific security measures and to commit funds to support a number of initiatives were even more welcomed.
The incoming chairman of CARICOM, Roosevelt Skerrit, believes there are still many tasks which CARICOM has to complete. Addressing yesterday's opening ceremony of the 50th anniversary and the 45th regular meeting of the heads of government in Trinidad and Tobago, he told the audience they should not be distracted from the heavy lifting by the celebrations.
As we set ourselves new targets to ensure that we thrive in this ever-changing global environment, there are unfinished tasks that we must complete. The issue of free movement, non-tariff barriers to trade, reliable and affordable transportation are all fundamental to a truly integrated CARICOM. We must address our minds and collective will to resolve some key issues. We have the opportunity on this historic occasion, and as we deliberate over the next few days, to take some decisions that can be truly transformative for our people and which will shape the future of our community for the next 50 years.
As CARICOM leaders gather for their annual summit, they have been told concerns remain about peace and stability in Haiti. UN Secretary General Antonio Guterres and Prime Minister of Trinidad and Tobago, Dr. Keith Rowley, spoke to the issue at a joint media conference in Port of Spain. CMC's Peter Richards has the details.
UN Secretary General Antonio Guterres restated the call for the international community to help establish an international security force, noting the limited capacity of Caribbean and African countries in that regard.
I have come here from Haiti, where the security situation is rapidly deteriorating and humanitarian needs are soaring. I reiterate my call on all partners to increase support for Haiti's national police in the form of financing, training or equipment. And we must collectively do more to help the Haitian people chart a path towards elections and a political solution. But there can be no lasting security without strengthening democratic institutions, and there can be no strong democratic institutions without a drastic improvement of the security situation. That is why I have been advocating for the deployment of an international security force authorized by the Security Council and able to cooperate with the Haiti National Police to dismantle the gangs that have created this unprecedented violence. And I register the fact that both African and Caribbean countries have shown their availability to participate in this effort. And I appeal to those that have the capacity that is needed to do so to also volunteer themselves.
Guterres held talks with Trinidad and Tobago's Prime Minister Dr. Keith Rowley. He said it is important to examine seriously the arms trafficking situation in the region.
The question is not a question of the Security Council decision. The most important problem is that we need to have countries that have the robust kind of police force and the robust kind of equipment and logistic support to be able to also volunteer themselves. I've seen African countries volunteering. I've seen countries in the Caribbean volunteer, but most of them have limited capacity.
Rowley said that CARICOM has been engaged with its neighbors, particularly Canada, on the Haitian situation.
I could mention on that particular subject, CARICOM has been engaged with our neighbors, Canada in particular. It's a major item on the agenda and will be discussed. We've got, recently there was a meeting in Jamaica where the political leadership, the various groupings came out of Haiti to meet in Jamaica to decide what exactly they will support. And we're talking to African nations to help because we believe that the problem has gone beyond the region and wherever help can be had. So there's a lot to be said about Haiti, and by the time we get to the press conference after CARICOM, you'll be better informed.
CARICOM Secretary General Dr. Carl Barnett says any decision on an international force in Haiti will have to come from the Haitians themselves.
It's time now to preview what's coming up in today's presentation of Morning Barbados. Well, we'll be telling you all about Public Nurses Week celebrations, and conversations on CARICOM will be particularly interesting as we look to the big 50th year celebration. In our next chapter segment, we're telling you all about the book A Man of Vision with a Mission, The Awakening by Buddy Larrier, and we're going to finish up talks on Fisherman's Day celebrations 2023. Plus, we have a new segment for you called The Eyes Have It. That's all today on Morning Barbados. That starts at 6:30. But coming up next, more news, sports, and weather. Stay with us. The Transport Board is getting more buses. New electric buses are due in the island soon as government phases out the diesel units. Minister of Transport, Works and Water Resources, Cynthia Bradshaw, says it's in keeping with government's move to renewable energy in the transport sector. CBC's Trevor Thorpe has more.
A 3 to 4 year plan is in place as the Transport Board moves from diesel buses to electric vehicles, and United Commercial Auto Works Limited UCAL is an integral part of the operations going forward. The existing fleet is to be expanded soon, and Minister of Transport, Works and Water Resources Cynthia Bradshaw says it is in keeping with government's mandate of greening Barbados.
We have 10 buses coming later this year. We are in the process of looking at another 21 buses to add to the existing electric bus fleet, and the intention is to phase out the diesel buses over a period of time. We are hopeful that we can increase those numbers, because the truth is that whether it is for schools or whether it is for just commuters generally, we need to increase the amount of buses on the road to be able to service all of the various needs as well.
A transition committee made of Labour, government and the Transport Board is in place to aid with the transitioning of the fleet.
Of course, UCAL will play a major part or partner in helping us with that transition, but again, that is the direction we're going in. And in that model, workers are at the forefront of that model in terms of being enfranchised as well. So this is, again, consistent with the philosophy of the party as it relates to making workers play a more integral role in our transitioning and our transformation across various sectors.
The minister says it is still early days and UCAL will have to carry out their services from various locations, but a state-of-the-art home for the company will be realized in the fullness of time.
We looked at 3 locations in the initial assessment. Obviously, the Weymouth location. We looked at the MTW workshop because, again, there may have to be some integration of the workers in terms of assisting UCAL. That is also on the table. We also looked at the mangrove facility. Each of them requires some level of capital investment to improve. And what the key thing is, obviously, in the interim, they will obviously have to perhaps operate at different locations. Eventually, I think the hope is that they have some state-of-the-art facility that will be able to accommodate all of the equipment that they are required to repair.
Training and retraining is in the works as government moves the public transport fleet from diesel to electric vehicles. Trevor Thorpe, CBC News.
The Scotiabank Junior Monarch finalists have been chosen. CBC's Wendy Burke tells us there was a large crowd to support the young artists during the semi-finals at the Lloyd Erskine Sandiford Centre.
Performing both Calypso and Soca, the semi-finalists faced the judges with 13 juniors in the Calypso category and 12 in the Soca category. While the announcements came after 11, the crowd waited patiently to hear who would go forward to the Scotiabank Junior Monarch Finals on Saturday, July the 15th at the Wilde Gymnasium. In the audience, cheering on the juniors were Minister in the Prime Minister's Office, Senator Dr. Chantel Munro-Knight, and Deputy Chairman of the NCS Board of Management, Sheldon Hope. A new monarch will be crowned in the Calypso category, since reigning monarch Yahanji will not be competing because of the competition age limit. The Calypso category finalists are Slay, Didnika, Potent, King K, The Mighty Bit-Bit, Ms. Kibaba, Sabia, and Sakara, with Khaleesi as reserve. Finalists in Soca are Zari B, Joshua B, Josh Ox, The Showman, Renisha, Lil Status, and Trinity. The reserve is King Shad, the first ever disabled competitor. They will have to try to dethrone reigning monarch Tay, who will be defending her title. She won the competition in 2019 and 2022. It is shaping up to be a show not to be missed. Wendy Burke, CBC News.
Congratulations to the young finalists. Now, the International Center for the Prosecution of Crime of Aggression against Ukraine has started its operations in The Hague. The newly established center will be key to investigate Russia's crime of aggression against Ukraine and facilitate case building for future trials.
It will look into what Kiev has called the supreme international crime of launching a war against another country. The existing International Criminal Court does not have a mandate to prosecute that type of aggression. The new unit will employ prosecutors from the ICC, the European Union, the United States and Ukraine. It's still not clear how the investigation and possible prosecution of Russian leaders will work, but it's been called a significant step towards holding people accountable.
Today, we gather here on occasion of a truly historic moment. I would say an epoch-defining moment when the civilized world not only voices, but also shows by concrete actions that accountability is what matters the most.
Several Twitter users have been complaining of being unable to read tweets, reading the message that rate limit exceeded. That's because Twitter has implemented stricter limits on the number of tweets users can view daily.
Owner Elon Musk brought in the change that allows unverified accounts, which are most users, to view only 600 posts per day. The move has sparked backlash from users. Musk said the limit was a temporary measure, but did not clarify how long it would last. Mike Prue from research and consultancy company Forrester says such limits reduce engagement.
This is yet another issue that has come up in this theme of Twitter chaos that has existed ever since Elon Musk took over the platform. Reducing the amount of views and engagement is the antithesis of what a brand needs in their advertising. So advertisers care about reach and engagement. Twitter, in this case, is moving in the exact opposite direction that an advertiser requires, because it is in effect squelching views and engagement.
In sports, Rashimi Griffith has qualified for the final of the men's 400-meter hurdles at the ongoing Central American and Caribbean Games in El Salvador. Griffith was 4th in Heat 2 and 7th overall last night in a time of 54.2. The final is tonight at 9:45 p.m. with Griffith in lane 1. Also running in the heats of the men's 400-meter hurdles was Rivaldo Leacock, who failed to advance to the final, being 5th in the heat number 1 and 9th overall in 51.31. Another Barbadian athlete making a final is Tia Adana Bell. She's in the final of the women's 400 hurdles after finishing 3rd in heat number 2 and 5th overall in a time of 57.14. The final is also tonight at 10:10. In other track results, Matthew Clark didn't make the finals of the men's 100 meters after he was 4th in heat number 3 and 11th overall in 10:53 seconds. Tristan Evelyn didn't make the women's 100-meter final either. She was 3rd in heat number 3 and 11th overall in 11:71. Meanwhile, the Barbados women's hockey team will play for the bronze medal after losing their semi-final against Cuba 8-1. They will now face the Dominican Republic for 3rd place tomorrow at 12:30 in the afternoon. Switching sports to tennis, the women's doubles team of Serena Bryan and Hannah Chambers missed a place in the semifinals when they lost at the quarterfinal stage to Mexico's Jessica Hinojosa and Maria Navarro 3-6, 4-6. The men's duo of Kaipo Marshall and Steven Slocum also didn't advance to the quarterfinals when they lost to Blase Bicknell and John Chin of Jamaica 4-5, 2-4. In netball, the Bajan Gems had it tough against Jamaica, going down 62-34. In shooting, the men's 25-meter rapid-fire pistol, Dave Seal ended 13th, while Marwin Bino finished 21st. And in archery, Charlene Gill fell in the women's round of 16 of the compound individual competition, 139-147, to Central Carib sports athlete Maria Zabudia. In football, Weymouth Wales extended their lead at the top of the BFA Premier League after defeating Paradise 2-0 at the Wildy Turf. Wales led 1-0 at halftime after Hayden Halligan scored in the 8th minute. Orantes Lawrence completed the scoreline with a strike in the 85th. We have the highlights.
Lays it out wide for Applewhite with his bright pink boots. Applewhite squares it like a bullet from a gun, hits it too hard. Shot comes in and Weymouth Wales are ahead. And it's the first goal in recent memory, I believe, for Hayden Holligan. On the move once again, over the top, and half a header. And who is it, Paul?
Orantes Lawrence steps up. You called it, Curtis. He really was lurking there. Second chance, and the head was right there. Nodded it into the back of the net.
It's time now to take a look at today's weather. And as we prepare for the weather, we want to remind you that our next newscast, Newsday, is at 12 this afternoon, followed by The World at 1 via our radio network of stations on 100.7 FM, 98.1 The One, and 94.7 FM. Also coming up today on CBC TV 8, keep on watching throughout the day as we bring you a new competition which allows you to win games just for tuning in. It's called A Piece of the Pie. So stay tuned to CBC TV 8 all day today, because the clues will be coming randomly, and as long as you can call in via our telephone numbers 228-5562 or 228-5563, we will give you an opportunity to win some fantastic prizes. So be sure to brush up on your crop over trivia. That's all coming up today on CBC TV 8. There's the weather. The barometric pressure stands at 1014.4 millibars, is 27.6 degrees Celsius. The relative humidity stands at 86%, and the winds are blowing out the east at 24 kilometers per hour. The present weather is cloudy with slight haze. Sea conditions, moderate in open water with swells peaking at 2.5 meters. Small craft operators and sea bathers should exercise caution, especially along northwestern and western coastlines. It's recommended that sea bathers use beaches that have on-duty lifeguards. So be mindful as you head out today. Here's a look at how the tides roll in. And as far as your conditions are concerned, it will be cloudy with sunny periods and a few brief isolated light showers throughout the day, and as we move into the evening period as well. That's today's morning report. Morning Barbados is next.
Wake up, wake up, wake up, wake up. Barbados, get up. Good morning. Good morning, Barbados. Good morning. Good morning to you.
Good morning to you. It is Tuesday, the 4th of July. So happy Independence Day to all of the Americans and Barbadian Americans who are locked on. I know today will be a day of loads of barbecues and family and friends as you enjoy your holiday. I'm Tisha Hines. I'll be here with you until 8 o'clock this morning. Thanks for tuning in for today's presentation of Morning Barbados. Remember, you can follow us online as well. We're on YouTube, Instagram, and of course Facebook, so you have no excuses. You can go to all of those pages and follow exactly what's happening with us. And of course, we have grand celebrations in neighboring Trinidad and Tobago. We're also going to jump into some celebrations here in Barbados as well, as we look to CARICOM celebrating 50. How amazing is that? Of course, that will continue with us talking with His Excellency David Comishong, Barbados Ambassador to CARICOM. Even that move is an amazing one on Barbados' part. So we're going to be having some conversations with Ambassador Ambassador Comishong on CARICOM coming up. We're also going to be talking to you about a book called A Man of Vision with a Mission, The Awakening by Reverend Buddy Laria. That's in our The Next Chapter segment. Plus, Barbados Nurses Association celebrating along with the rest of Barbados Public Health Nurses Week. Susan Marshall, Senior Health Sister at the Morris Spire Polyclinic, she'll be in to share with us as well. Plus, we're continuing with that fun segment, The Eyes Have It. So we share some eyes with you. We're going to give you some clues. And you, of course, have to tell us who you think the eyes belong to. That's right. So identify the eyes. And we're going to have some fun with that today. Of course, all of the clues are leading toward crop over. So again, brush up on your crop over trivia. Fisherman's Day celebrations conclusion. Yes, we are absolutely still celebrating. And Melissa Tate, Vice President of the Bridgetown Fisher Folk Association, will be in along with Dexter Ford, the PRO of that Bridgetown Fisher Folk Association. Of course, they're back. They were here with us a little earlier on last week in the show. Plus, we're going to be remembering a young lady who was featured some time ago on Morning Barbados. Unfortunately, she has passed on, and we're going to be paying some homage to her in remembering her appearance here on this show. That's all coming up today on Morning Barbados. And I just want to remind you, we have a new game show coming to TV8. It's called Piece of the Pie. So tuning throughout the day. You don't know when we're going to come at you. So you'll be seeing presenters from across the Caribbean Broadcasting Corporation, not just television, but radio as well, coming on screen at specific times throughout the day and giving you a chance to win big just by having the correct answer. And I'm giving you a big clue. The questions are mostly about crop over. All right, 2 conversations on CARICOM. Now, the 50th anniversary of CARICOM, or the 50th anniversary, the 45th anniversary of the Heads of Government Conference that will be officially opened in Trinidad and Tobago. We're going to talk a little bit now about the content of the agenda of the Heads of Government Conference that gets going today. And to help us along is David Comishong, Barbados Ambassador to CARICOM. Good morning.
Good morning, Tisha. Pleasure to be here with you.
It's wonderful to have us with you. And what a backdrop you have there, showing off the beauty of our neighboring island, Trinidad and Tobago. So tell us all about what's been happening. Lots of pomp and ceremony last evening, but today we get down to business.
Yes, today is actually the 50th anniversary date, because recall, CARICOM was established on the 4th of July, 1973. So we had the opening ceremony of the conference yesterday. This morning, the first order of business is to go to Chaguaramas. That's the site where the treaty was signed in 1973. So we go to Chaguaramas for a bit of symbolism, to visit that very symbolic spot. And then we come back to the Hyatt. I'm here at the Hyatt Regency, and that's the background towards the northern range of Trinidad behind me. And then the business sessions will start. So we have 2 days of business sessions, and I can take you through the items on the agenda. A typical CARICOM Heads of Government meeting agenda. We'll be looking at the CSME, CARICOM Single Market and Single Economy. How we're coming with that. What are some of the outstanding issues? We'll be getting a report from President Irfan Ali on the CARICOM Agri-Foods agenda. This major project we have to reduce the regional food and pork bill by 25% by the year 2025. We're engaging with our special guests. The special guests are the President of Rwanda, Paul Kagame, and the President of COP28. So we'll be looking towards COP28, which is happening in December of this year. And of course, we will be looking at our own preparations for COP28. We'll be looking at what we are doing in relation to pursuing climate finance. Obviously, all of the developments on the Bridgetown Initiative will be discussed at this meeting. For me, a very, very significant item on the agenda, Tisha, is reparations. We are going to be discussing reparations, and I said that this is very important for me because there have been quite a number of developments on the reparations front in recent months, you know, from the Dutch government apologizing to the Anglican Church apologizing and setting up an investment fund, various European families coming forward and apologizing and offering reparative gestures. And so it is important that we in CARICOM, I mean, our campaign has led the entire process. So we need to take stock of these recent developments and kind of refocus where we are going and what will be our very next move. So those are just a few of the items, but of course, I know viewers will be saying, well, what about air and sea transportation? That is on the agenda as well, as is crime. We had this crime seminar in Trinidad and Tobago a few weeks ago, and we will be looking at what came out of that seminar and what are some of the follow-ups to take place. So those are a few of the agenda items, Keisha. Of course, that is not an exhaustive list. I do have the full agenda here. Perhaps I should also mention that we'll be having engagement with our stakeholders, private sector, labor, civil society, and youth. And we'll be intrigued to know that Ms. Tony Moore, Member of Parliament, and the General Secretary of the Barbados Workers Union, she is part of the Barbados delegation. So she is here to be part of that engagement with Labour. The Barbados delegation, of course, led by Prime Minister Motley, also including Minister of Foreign Affairs Kerry Simmons, Attorney General Dale Marshall, the PS in Prime Minister's office, and a number of two foreign service officers. Quite a comprehensive delegation to celebrate CARICOM's 50th anniversary here in Trinidad and Tobago.
Now I know, Ambassador, that in honor of the 50th celebration, you have a publication that you're going to be sharing with us as well.
Oh yes. We actually brought, let me see if we can get it into the frame. We actually brought some copies with us to Trinidad and Tobago because several of our CARICOM counterparts were asking us to provide them with copies of I Am CARICOM, Kofi's journey. So that's just one element of what will be Barbados's contribution to celebrate CARICOM's 50th anniversary over the next year. Barbadians to be aware, the celebration has just started. In fact, we will be commemorating and celebrating, educating about CARICOM for the full year between today and the 4th of July next year. And Prime Minister Motley has already announced that we will be, in fact, having a public holiday in honor of a one-off public holiday at the end of this month in honor of the 50th. But there are a number of other items that have been put forward and I trust will be implemented and will go a long way to educating the Barbadian people about CARICOM and the role that Barbadians have played in our Caribbean integration movement.
And I know that you've been highlighting the works, particularly of a few stalwarts, Grantley Adams and Errol Barrow as well, their role in Caribbean integration overall as Caribbean people.
Yes, you know, the Barbadian prime ministers have tended to feature quite prominently in taking the regional integration movement from one phase to the next. It started with Premier Grantley Adams, who was the Prime Minister of the the West Indies Federation. Short-lived though it was, only 4 years. But he had played a very big role as a labor leader in pushing forward the idea of a West Indies Federation. And once the Federation had collapsed and Mr. Errol Barrow had become Premier of Barbados, he took up the baton, and he played a very big role in first of all, trying to establish a federation with Little Eight, and when that didn't work, embarking on this journey of helping to get us back to the unity that federation is suggestive of, but not going the direct route of political union. Instead, going the route of first a Caribbean Free Trade Association, CARIFTA, and then evolving CARIFTA into CARICOM by 1973. So, although we say we are celebrating 50 years of CARICOM, but the truth is, CARICOM's roots are actually in CARIFTA. And so we really could be celebrating a 55-year-old institution, because CARIFTA was actually implemented in 1968, evolving to CARICOM in 1973. And then of course there's Prime Minister Owen Arthur, who is deeply associated with the CARICOM single market and single economy. He piloted that in the early stages. Sir Lloyd Erskine Sandiford, he was important too. He played a role in the very critical Declaration of Grandance in 1989, which set up the West Indian Commission, which did the work, which proposed the idea of a CSME, and Sir Lloyd also put forward the idea of a parliament of CARICOM parliamentarians. But unfortunately, that idea hasn't really taken root. And then most recently, Prime Minister Meers Motley, who came on the scene in 2018, really like a whirlwind, and has energized all aspects of the Caribbean integration movement. And I think CARICOM is now at its peak. It is at its peak of international influence. It is at its peak in terms of a confidence, a sense of Caribbean identity, and assertiveness of the leadership of CARICOM. No longer are we prepared simply to try to survive on terrain set by big nations that have, really established an international order to benefit themselves. And in the past, we tend to have simply accepted those unfair rules of the game and just tried to survive within them. But now, particularly driven by Prime Minister Motley, we are seeing a new determination in CARICOM to change the rules of the game, to make them fair and just, to restructure the international financial institutions and this whole international economic and political order. So that's the new context and the new sense of purpose that I am seeing with a CARICOM at 50, a mature CARICOM.
The year of celebrations that are to come. From your perspective, we heard there was much pomp and circumstance last evening for the opening ceremony. So if you can give us an overview of how the opening ceremony went and that particular part of the celebrations as we look forward to what's to come today.
Well, I would say it was a relatively modest opening ceremony. You said there was a lot of pomp and ceremony, but it was fairly modest. We had speeches from of course, the Secretary General, the outgoing chair, the Prime Minister of the Bahamas, incoming chair, the Prime Minister of Dominica, and very important, we had the presence and an address from the Secretary General of the United Nations, Mr. Antonio Guterres. And I can tell you, he was not the only Secretary General of a major multilateral organization in the audience. There was also Baroness Scotland, the Secretary General of the Commonwealth. There was Mr. Luis Almagro, the Secretary General of the Organization of American States. So that alone tells you something about the image of CARICOM at 50, that leaders of the United Nations, the OAS, the Commonwealth, found it necessary to be there with us. I had recommended that we should have invited the leadership of the African Union. I really wanted to see the chair of the African Union Commission, which is the equivalent of the Secretary General of CARICOM, and the current president of the African Union, President Comoros. I wanted to see them there, but they're not there. But the president of Rwanda, Paul Kagame, he will be representing the African continent, and I thought it was so important to have Africa there, because we know that for the next 50, as we embark upon the next 50 years, we are going to be turning our eyes east to that African mother continent and developing mutually beneficial relationships with that African mother continent. So it was a pleasing ceremony in that you had cultural offerings. You had a Kalinago group from Dominica that performed the dance. You had the Trinidad National Steel Orchestra playing beautifully on the steel pans, and you had a very eclectic Trinidadian group. I can't remember the name of the musician, but he was playing the sitar, and apparently he's a master of the sitar, and he was accompanied by musicians on steel pan, bass guitar, and rhythm guitar. And for me, that cultural offering really stood out because it was a beautiful mixture of Indian and African, featuring our steel drum, and a beautiful kind of classy. So yes, Isha, we're off and running, and we will have a major concert tonight, and I understand that a number of Barbadian artists will be representing Barbados at that concert. Trinidadians sent out the invitation a bit late, but we were able to respond, and we will have a Barbadian representation at that concert tonight, and we'll be doing the work that we normally do at heads of government conferences over the next 2 days. The conference will be held right here at the Hyatt Regency Hotel in Port State.
All right. Well, thank you so much, Ambassador. We certainly look forward to hearing all the details about all the things that are planned and how things will unfold as we look toward this 50th anniversary celebration of CARICOM. Thank you.
It's been my pleasure, Tisha. I'll see you back in Barbados in a week's time. All
right. See you then. Coming up on Morning Barbados, the next chapter, Reverend Buddy Larrier is in with us. Stay with us.
Morning, morning, morning. Good morning. Good morning to you.
So we've already started the conversation with Reverend Buddy Laria, who is here with us to tell us all about his latest book. It's called A Man of Vision with a Mission, The Awakening. So good morning and welcome.
Good morning, and thanks for you to have me.
And I was telling Reverend Laria that I am accustomed to hearing the name on radio, and I believe we would have spoken during my stint on radio, you know, through the years. So it certainly is really great to have you sitting here with me this morning, talking about your books. You know, in total, you've written 7 books, but 5 of those books have been written in the very recent past, so like within the last year or so. So tell me about what's been happening with you that you've churned out 5 books within the last few months.
Well, the reason for this is because this year marks the 530th anniversary of we as a people being, let's say, in captivity. The world system has been established over the last 530 years. That is because Christopher Columbus invaded the region in 1493, not 1492. 1492 was when he first arrived here in the, let's say, in the region, the Americans. But that was not the invasion that people talks about. So they claim the 12th of October as Columbus Day and Discovery Day. The 12th of October was a very important day in the history when two cultures clash. And it was not about confrontation. The indigenous people, black people, celebrated with Christopher Columbus and his crew the fact that he had landed, needed help, or people helped them. So it was a celebration, not a date of confrontation. But we have taken it and taken the lie that went with it. What I'm trying to do is help people to understand it was a year later that Christopher Columbus invaded the Caribbean, or the Americas, with 17 warships and 120 mercenaries that they had taken from. So that's what I'm trying to get people to really appreciate.
Is this the general crux of what you're sharing in A Man of Vision, a Mission, or is this something else you're sharing in this new book?
What I'm sharing now, because this is the 5th book in a series, and all that is happening in the world today is context in my work, yes, but most important, the awakening. People are beginning to understand. And when I say people, I mean generally. White people are now beginning to realize that something went wrong and give them the idea that they were superior or had a blessing that we were cursed. They had a blessing and that we were cursed. So the awakening is mean that people all around the world are now beginning to understand. And the fact that in my vision of 1977, I said, and you could read it, or you could read it, I had a copy for you so that you can read it, that Caribbean, CARICOM, as we just said, today is the 50th anniversary. And our Prime Minister, and I mentioned this in my vision, that Barbados and the Caribbean will be leading the world at this time. And that is what's happening at the moment, as you would appreciate. The person that people want to hear from is our Prime Minister. all around the world. And it's talking about the Barbados initiative. The Barbados is now on the lips of every world leader. Every world leader.
This is absolutely true. Now, I know that you're launching the book, I believe it's today, at the Library Service headquarters in Fairchild Street. That's right. So you're launching it in association with the National Library Service. Talk to me about that association and what will be happening this morning at 10.
It's very important because the National Library Service, I must thank them, because they have launched all the books, the last 5 books, yes. And with the Barbados Museum and the Library Service, this year also marks the 75th anniversary of the Windrush generation scandal and compensation for people like ourselves who went to England in the 50s. Now, as a result of that, something happened to me in 1977, which the vision is detailed in that. And it was through my experience in England in 1977 that the mental health, which we know now, everyone is talking about mental health. We just had here in Barbados the NCDs and mental health is now brought together.
That's right.
I have what I would say a solution to the problem, but let's say Barbados is a strange place because of, as David Commercian, His Excellent David Commercian, made reference to recently, to one of the difficulties that Sir Lloyd, the late Sir Lloyd Sandiford had, was race and class. So race and class in Barbados is what has barred me from being accepted to share what I have to share.
But it's still wonderful that you're able to move forward in spite of what you deem to be your challenges or what's holding you back, to be able to share your visions as you describe them and what you hold to be true within the pages of your book.
That's right.
And it certainly is it's great to hear that you're able to share these books with the world, because you just said they're available on Amazon. A few years ago, Barbadians would not have been able to get that kind of reach unless they had some type of international distribution deal with a large company doing publishing and marketing and distribution and that kind of thing. So it's wonderful that you're able to get this book out. Now, summarize for us what this book is about, and let's talk a little bit about what we can expect at 10 o'clock for those people who want to come down to the National Library Service and be a part of that presentation.
Well, this book in particular is about the fact that there's a big discussion going on around the world as to where we all came from. How did we was scattered, how we were scattered. And this book is to help us to understand that God in His mercy is working in a particular way, yes, to let man or mankind know that we are one family. This book leads us to that. And with all the challenges that we're having presently, you see, all parliamentarians in Barbados is key, so this book is to help Barbadians understand how important Barbados is, because we do not understand the history of Barbados.
All right. Where did you personally, how did you learn of or happen upon all of this historical content that you are sharing? Is it through readings over the years? Were you able to meet with certain people? As you mentioned, some of it was through visions. How did this information come to your knowledge?
It came to me. It's not one aspect of, yes, on Sunday was my birthday.
Happy belated birthday.
Yeah, I'm now 80 years old.
Wow, congratulations.
Right. But it's the birthday of my grandmother, and it's the birthday of my mother. So there is a line, a bloodline, that we all must begin to do the research. It's in our DNA, yes? And I know the Prime Minister has urged our people to start writing. At one time we were not allowed to write, we were not allowed to read. Our children now need to read, but we, as the elders, have to do the writing to let our children.
All right, so hold on. You said that your grandmother, your mother, and now you are born on the same day?
Yes. The first, when I did the research, you know, the Guinness Book of Records, we are the first. But coincidentally, that the 2nd of July, there's a family in New Mexico who have the same history of the grandmother, the mother, and the child born on the 2nd of July.
The same day?
The same day.
Wow.
So you see, we need to do research.
Yeah.
We need to understand the energy that we call God. And I think you asked the question, so I should. When I was given the vision in 1977, I was not searching for anything. You know, grew up in Barbados. You couldn't grow up in Barbados as a child and then hear about God and Jesus and whatever. But in 1977, God tapped me on the shoulder and said, oh, I want to engage you. The time has come, yes? And he wanted me to do a little job. And I said, okay, what is the pay? What am I expect to do? And he said, you have to give up your job. I said, my job? And how am I gonna provide for my children? You know what God asked me? Whose children? I said, my children. God asked me, where did you get children from? How did you know? Or who told you the children was yours? I had to say, well, the woman. God asked me, how you know she was telling the truth? My sister, and then I end. This is heavy stuff,
it's
right?
true, especially since I like to watch Paternity Court.
That's right, yeah. How do you know?
Yeah.
And I was flabbergasted.
But was this something that ever kind of, you know, flew into your psyche? Anything discussed before?
No.
No?
And then
that's pretty interesting.
This is the big part, though. Then he said, but I want you to do something. And because, and I'll give you what I brought for you, the vision. Because it was clear in my mind, I was put in the mental institution for sharing that. And God said to me, the first thing I want you to do is have an international family reunion for Barbados, because Jeanette, 1955, has devastated Barbados and caused us to move out of Barbados, a lot of us. But what I didn't know, what we didn't know, is that the 1959 Mental Health Act was established in England to put people in the mental institution and send them back to the Caribbean, robbing them of their British citizenship. all that I found out after I was
Wow,
put in
all
the
of that is
military.
quite heavy.
This heavy stuff.
Do you detail any of that in your works?
Yes,
Well, it will be good to hear a whole lot more about it, and that's some very heavy stuff and stuff that we really need to deal with. I mean, in this interview, we really came prepared for hearing about the final book, but to be able to share openly, because you know it's only in recent times that Barbadians are willing to openly share about mental health, and we know there are mental health issues that you know run deep through family roots and otherwise, not only here in Barbados but around the world, and it certainly seems as though it's been exacerbated in recent years. So that's a conversation we certainly would love to have with you at another time as well.
Yes.
So you know, in closing, what can we look forward to at 10 o'clock this morning at the National Library Service?
At 10 o'clock, I would be sharing with the library, and as I said, because the library and the museum has been so helpful, and they had a program where they was educating people about the Windrush compensation scheme. There's a lot of money available for Barbadians and the Caribbean people in England because of what happened. I'll be helping people to understand how important this book, The Awakening, is.
All right.
Along with the rest of the books.
Wow. And, you know, 5 of the 7 books that Reverend Laria has written were all written in the last 12 months.
Right.
I think that is profound. That's a lot of work. And I wish you the best on the launch today of the book, A Man of Vision with a Mission, The Awakening. And there will be an official launch at the National Library Service at 10 o'clock this morning at the Library Service headquarters on Fairchild Street in Bridgetown. So make sure you pass through if you can and be a part of that. Thank you so much, Reverend Larrier. It's good to see you, as I said.
Yes,
I've heard you on numerous occasions on radio, so it's good to sit and have a conversation with you face to face.
All right, thank you very much, and look forward to sharing some more information.
For sure. I look forward to it too.
Thank you very much.
All right, we're going to take a break and come on back. Remember, we still are sharing some eyes with you. So if you think you can identify some eyes, you might want to stick around for The Eyes Have It, all coming up right here on Morning Barbados. All right, so The Eyes Have It, The Eyes Have It. We are inviting you to see if you recognize some eyes, and these eyes can be crop over eyes or other eyes. Well, I'm going to give you some clues. So with these first eyes, let's see if you recognize them first. The clue is he is passionate about fitness and helping people. He's passionate about fitness and helping people. Can you tell whose eyes these are? That's right, the eyes have it. So think about it, look deep into those eyes and see if you think you can identify who these eyes belong to. So the eyes have it. Whose eyes are these? Remember, you're going to get a chance to call us later. So if you think you know who it is, 228-5562 or 228-5563. Please don't call if you don't know the eyes. Let somebody else call in. So one caller called us yesterday and said, I'm not sure who it is. Yeah, that's okay. Let somebody who thinks they identify the eyes move on. All right, so it's time now for us to tell you all about Public Health Nurses Week. And, you know, there's a celebration Saturday, July 8th, under the theme Stronger Together. I love that, especially for the occasion. So let's welcome Senior Health Sister at the Moores Bayer Polyclinic, Susan Marshall, who will be sharing with us this morning. Good morning to you.
Good morning. Thank you for having me on behalf of Public Health Nurses.
Thank you so much and welcome. As you gear up for the observance coming up on the 8th of July, what would you like to share about the work that public health nurses do across the length and breadth of not only Barbados, but the world?
Okay. Public health nurses do a whole lot. And first, the theme, Stronger Together. We came up with that theme because post-COVID, we were a fragmented people and very many people didn't understand what was happening. Like, that's your work. So, and you had to get through COVID and continue the work that we do. So the Stronger Together theme is to help us to form pathways or discover pathways to enhance, strengthen, build, and rebuild relationships, because public health nursing is about relationship, relating with each other, relating and collaborating with, like you today, the media, other agencies, and the community, especially our community. And so this is what it's all about. But you know, what we also realize, a lot of people do not know what public health nurse, specifically in Barbados, do, because globally, there's some people may do public health nursing and community health nursing and treat it as one thing. And in those areas, there's a range of services that's offered, mainly in policy and formulation and stuff. But here in Barbados, we inform the policy. We don't generate or formulate the policy per se. And so what we want, especially during this week, to inform the public, and so that we can rekindle our relationship with them, is what we do as public health nurses. And one of our key roles is the expanded program of immunization, and keep making sure the vaccine preventable diseases stay away from Barbados. The people of Barbados and those who visit will be protected from that. And that can only happen with us, a schedule of immunization that we follow to ensure all our children and adults, where we get boosters, are protected from those diseases. Modern day Bajans do not know about the diseases. They hear about it, but it's re-emerging in areas where people are refusing the vaccine. And then you see all the old elderly people no longer protected, dying in hospitals overseas. And that's what we don't want to reach here in Barbados. One of the key roles for us is immunization, following up, looking for defaulters, encouraging people and teaching people what to do. And that is our role is health education. So we educate in terms of immunization, we educate in terms of our antenatal care. If we don't care for ourselves, for the mother and that baby from the start, then the outcome can be very dangerous. And we see it with mothers. They have one child, two children, and they decide, I don't need to go to no clinic. I don't want to wait. But we say it's public care, and we would love for everybody to come and spend the kind of time they want to spend, which is like 5 minutes. Give me what you have to say and let me go. But it is more than that. It is way more than that. And the implications of falling short is really, really serious. So what we do, we do the maternal and child health. That includes antenatal care, postnatal care after the baby, the newborn baby. Some parents, some children have challenges, and we follow through, right through with some people, and seek helping them access the care that they need to ensure that the child is not a statistic later on as a morbidity case. So we try a mortality case. We try to help them do better and get better. Another key role we have is surveillance. What is surveillance? We remember with COVID, people coming in, we had to check them, monitor the vitals, monitor them on a daily basis. And that is only one case of when you have infectious cases, you have to do surveillance, do the contact tracing, monitor all the time. And that is time consuming, but it's a vital thing. Because say for instance, somebody show up and they have a discharge or something. You want to know why your partners. It's a sexually transmitted infection, vaginal, via the penis, they're not feeling well and stuff. When you check, there is a STI. We could let that go, but we have to follow up them contacts, encourage them, educate them first, because some people, sometimes they don't even know. So, helping them to understand the importance of the way we behave.
Wow.
And treat our bodies. That
All
is
right.
so important.
Yeah, so you definitely do a lot of work, and I really sat back and listened to you kind of become comfortable with telling me all of the ways that you continue to share, and I definitely hear you when you talk about the major role that you played during the COVID-19, the height of the COVID-19 pandemic, because I don't think that I have in all my years engaged so much with nurses than during COVID. Obviously, taking different family members, especially then when the little ones had to get their vaccines and so on. And I must tell you, it was always a pleasant experience to be able to have people who were there to quell your fears and kind of hold your hand, literally and figuratively, to be able to help us through that very difficult period, even as they themselves would have been grappling with what was happening with their own families. All right, so tell me all about the activities that are happening and, what we can look forward to.
So for Public Health Nurses Week, what we plan to do is just what we're doing now, really re-educating the public, rekindling our relationships, and then we have some in-house activities. On what happened is that we are also very busy with the 11 plus vaccines. So we had to postpone our in-house. So for our own personal growth and development of building and rebuilding and reconnecting with each other as public health nurses and the role of the public nurse. So the face of that is changing with non-communicable diseases and the re-emerging communicable diseases. We have to now go back to the drawing board and how do we, in this 21st century, address those issues? The public is so different. You know, you say some people are so receptive, but today the knowledge is there and most of it is not so true. And where we access the information is problematic. So I always say to people, go to sites, the WHO, PAHO, and reputable sites, the National Health Service in the UK, reputable sites for your information.
All
Because
right.
out there, we have lots of people giving false information.
This is true. People get online, and you know, that's important to remind people to go to reputable sites. And I know that 11 plus exam, when it comes up, because I often get a lot of questions from parents asking about if they should give their children the HPV vaccine. So as the media, those are conversations that we definitely have to continue as well as we go, you know, from year to year. All right, I know you have a number of open days coming up. There will be open days at the Winston Scott and Bradford Tate Polyclinics from started yesterday through to the 7th, and members of the public will be invited to view displays highlighting the history and achievement of public health nursing over the years. I'd like to thank you so much, Senior Health Sister at the Morris Polyclinic, Susan Marshall, for sharing with us this morning. And I wish all of you the very best in your observance coming up this weekend and with all of the activities that are planned this week.
Thank you. Thank you very much for having us.
All right, we're going to take a break. When we come back, we're going to tell you about how Fisherman's Day celebrations concluded, because it's more than a day. It has turned into Fisherman's Week celebrations. So we'll tell you more. That's all next.
Morning, morning, morning. Good morning. Good morning to you. Morning, morning, morning. Good morning. Good morning to you.
Yeah, so I'm in studio talking with Melissa Tate and Dexter Ford. Melissa is Vice President. Delbert Ford. She's back there whispering. The mic is on, Melissa. Melissa Tate and Delbert Ford. He's PRO. She's Vice President of the Bridgetown Fisher Folk Association. Good morning. Welcome back.
Good morning. Thanks for having us back.
All right, Melissa, you are always so beautifully dressed. Where do you learn to do this beautiful head wrap and stuff like that?
Well, it's a cultural thing. I born into Rastafari, and my mom used to make my clothes, and then I advanced to start making my own clothes as I grew older. So this is just my personal sense of style.
Hey, so that's beautiful. I love it. Tell me about, you made this outfit that you're wearing today too?
I make all the clothes that I wear, yes.
Oh, that's gorgeous. So that's the next side of Melissa.
Yes, please.
Oh, I love that. Beautiful stuff. All right, so last time you were here, we talked about the association's celebration or observance of the day, but I know you had multiple things happening throughout the week, so let's talk a bit about that.
Well, the week of activities began on the 25th of June, and that started off with a church service. The first market to have activities was Pearl Bay, and that was a grand affair. And then we went into the week, and it was Paynes Bay, which was myself, and we had approximately 30 students over there the earlier part of the day, and they had a ball. And the evening half, they had the adults that came in. And then we also had oysters on the very same day, and Jerry Dan was over there making it happen. So they had a grand affair. And after those markets, we went into the Millie Eiffel, which people know as the Western, and that was quiet but steady going, and persons had a good time there as well. I heard that Spikestown held something, and the finale was in Bridgetown, which people considered to be epic. rumors are that it was the best Fisherman's Day since 1995. So coming out of COVID, I could say that that's a great news for us. The public turned out in their numbers and they enjoyed the various activities and all the individuals who came. So we saw it fit to come and give thanks to all our sponsors and all the persons that were involved. And trust me, the list is kind of long. So I hope I'm able to run through all of them.
Well, I hope that we might be able to get to that. But Delbert, I don't know why I keep calling you Dexter, but Delbert,
yes,
you know, from your perspective, how did things go? I know coming out of being a part of the fishing industry, generally you both have your own businesses. Happy to hear that Melissa is in other industries as well. But, you know, you've been able to, you know, start your own business, and you said last time you were here that it's going well. Talk to me about the celebrations, how they unfolded, and how generally you feel as PRO and as someone who is so active in the industry.
I feel wonderful. I feel really wonderful. We had a wonderful day, and I must say CBC, thanks CBC for supporting us and keeping coverage for the whole event. It was busy, had me tired. I worked straight to, let's say 12 o'clock on Saturday in the AM. We did awards the morning time. I personally take part as well as Melissa, and that is with the Chief Fisheries Officer Shelley Ann Cox and our Manager of Markets Eric Lewis, and it was just from there. It was just going. Yeah. I come out from there and I went straight into the bar to assist people. And it was a wonderful day. The turnout was wonderful, I must say. We had so much people come out and relax. And we had no problems. We had the presence of the police force there as well. And we must say a shout out to them as well.
Yeah, well, we know Barbadians love fish. I know we talk about how much Bajans love chicken, and we do. But Bajans love fish, and it's a bit of a cultural thing as well. I mean, after all, our national dish is the official one.
Fly fish.
Because apparently there's some unofficial national dishes, but our official national dish is inclusive of fish.
Yes.
And I know a few other cultural things, particularly around Easter time. Barbadians still want to make sure they get their fish and things like that. So Melissa, it's wonderful to hear that you guys had such a great turnout, wonderful support across the markets, even though Bridgetown is trying to claim that theirs was the best since, as you say, 1995.
Epic. Yes.
All right, so all of the partners who supported you, I would imagine, come from a cross-section of businesses across the island.
We must most foremost say a big shout out and thank you to our major sponsors, those being Carter's General Stores and the Marketing Director, Mr. Brian Hurley. They were responsible for the beautification of the compound. The Inter-American Institute for Cooperation and Agriculture, which is ICA, that provided the awards, and Marinco Marine Limited, Mr. Tony Cooper, who also gave us a great donation towards food to ensure that we were able to cover the general public and no one was turned back. Anyone could have got anything to eat on that day. And then we have our minor sponsors. We have Bryden Stores, Banks Breweries, Zephyrins Bakeries, and the Nursing Association who turned up. And they had so much fun. They didn't remember to take any photos much. We have Saul, Westbury, Frank B. and Armstrong, Pelican Market Supplies, Sundale Foods, Saving Plus, Poplar Discount, Gucci Don Productions, Dale Lashley, William Industrials, and last but not least, the Fisher Folk. And we must give a big thank you to the general public because they showed us so much love. And last but not least, but most important, the Almighty, for providing the source that brought us all together, which is the ocean.
Wow.
The ocean brought us all together, and none of us will be here having a livelihood, having any celebrations without that source. So we are giving thanks all around, especially to our Chief Fisheries Officer, Ms. Cox, and our Quality Control Officer, Ms. Michelle Wiggins. So we are very, very grateful to everyone who played their role. And next year, it should be greater and grander than ever before.
Yeah, I can see on both of your faces that you definitely had a grand time. And, you know, I'd like to reiterate what you said about thanks to all of the corporate partners and various agencies who helped to ensure that it was all that it could be.
Yes.
So, I mean, congratulations to them and a heartfelt thank you as well.
Yes.
Because, you know, as you mentioned the various ways that they were able to help you, you know, it makes it clear that without them, it truly wouldn't have been possible. So, Delbert,
Yes,
plans
please.
are in the works for
Yes,
next year?
We got the Fisherman's Ball. We're going to have a meeting this week in terms of planning the date for that. We're looking at November, but we'll talk to the other partners and sponsorship and everything in terms of that. We're also looking to see if we can jump on board for their morning. You know, that's coming up soon. So we would deal with that today with the NCF. I'm going to leave here actually and go straight to the NCF today.
Well, I love it.
Right.
Link it with Crop Over.
Yes, we're trying to.
So you guys trying to do a 4-day morning band or something?
Well, we offer service to the public with regards to grilled fish and refreshments and stuff because we are a part of the blue economy and we all know crop over is a big part of the tourism product. So we are just trying to make sure we are more visible, we are more there, we understand what our role is, so we are just trying to get into it.
All right, I love that.
Then,
so thanks for, you were saying something else?
Yeah,
Delbert?
then we also got plans for training. So we will be, when we get some more information in terms of that, we will let you all know and we will let the public know. We want to encourage the public to come out next year and be a big part of it.
All right, now I want to do something that we didn't necessarily plan. It's about 26 minutes to 8 o'clock. And because I seldom have people on the set, I want to engage you in a little game that we're playing called The Eyes Have It.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah? So I want to see how good the two of you are at guessing people based on their eyes. So we're going to play them. And of course, members of the public can call in. If you think you know who the eyes belong to, you can let me know. So, you know, if we can see, do you think you can recognize those eyes? Can you tell whose eyes, these eyes, who do they belong to? Can you tell whose eyes these are?
The spinny eyes?
Huh? All right, so let me give you another clue. Before soca, he was into classical music from an early age.
That's Mikey.
Before soca, he was into classical music from an early age. Who do you say it is?
Mikey.
Mikey, you think it's Mikey?
I don't know that.
I was saying it's Spinny before.
You think it's Spinny?
Yeah.
Spinny was into classical music?
No, you don't tell me that clue. that one you know, tell me.
What? Also, the last clue was he is passionate about fitness and helping people.
That's the part that had me. That's Mikey. That's
So both of you think it's Mikey?
It's Mikey, yeah.
I went to UV with Mikey.
And you didn't look deep into Mikey's eyes?
I saw him.
Yeah.
I saw him occasionally, but I know that Mikey is very out there and active.
Yes.
Yeah.
Fitness.
All right, so let me give you one more clue, just in case those two were not enough, to see if you can bring it all home. He's afraid of crowds. Who would have thought? He's afraid of crowds. He's passionate about fitness and helping people. That's clue number 2. And before soca, he was into classical music from an early age. The eyes have it.
I clueless.
Yeah, so from now on, you're going to have to look people deep in their eyes. Let me make sure so that I can recognize your eyes if the chance presents itself in the future. Is it Mikey? I don't know. That's what they both think. I think, Delbert, you just said that because...
No, when you said the fitness part is why you say Mikey then. Automatically.
All right. Well, you have a chance to call. Do you agree with them? Or do you have a different idea? Remember, the number is 228-5562 and 228-5563. We'll give you an opportunity to call in. So get on those phone lines and dial us up and let us know if you know who the eyes belong to. Melissa, are you adamant? Is that your final answer?
I don't have any more options, so I will have no choice but to leave it there.
All right, let's take a call and see if the callers agree with exactly what you're saying. Hello, is there anybody on the phone line? 228-5562. and 228-5563. Those are the numbers to call to get in on the action. Let's see if you can identify those eyes. All right, we have a call on the line. Good morning.
Good morning.
Good morning. Where are you calling us from?
St. Philip.
St. Philip again. I think all the St. Philip people are tuning in because I'm here.
Oh, yeah.
Right? That's good stuff. All right. Do you think you know who the eyes belong to? Let's see them again.
Those eyes belong to Mikey.
You think the eyes belong to Mikey too?
Oh, gosh.
I cannot believe you're agreeing with Melissa and Delbert. What gave it away for you? Why do you think it's Mikey?
I know those eyes.
Oh, you've stared deep into those eyes? You stared into those eyes?
Yes.
And how about the clues?
No, I didn't have to get the clues from them. I saw the eyes and realized that they were Mikey's.
Okay, so from the first time without the clues, you saw the eyes and you said, that's Mikey.
I told myself so too.
Yes.
All right, well, I don't know the answer, so I'm going to have to go with what you're saying. So let's see. You know, is it Mikey? You have to give me the answer, guys.
Yes.
Congratulations.
I know it was him. Yeah.
What's your name?
Susan.
Susan, congratulations. It is Mikey. You have to reveal to us how you knew it was Mikey right away.
I know it was him, yeah.
Tell us.
Those eyes. I just know the eyes.
She just knows the eyes. That sounds like a story.
She's shy.
That sounds like a story. That's okay though. So congratulations. Melissa, you were right.
Thank you.
So you definitely helped. I think Delbert just said because Melissa said.
No. After you said the fitness part is when I jump on board with Mikey.
All right, good stuff. Is there anybody you'd like to say good morning to, Susan?
Not really right now.
All right. Well, have a great day today, and thanks for tuning in. And after knowing a man's eyes at first glance, I would have thought Mikey would be the first person you want to say good morning to.
I don't have to do that on television. I can call him and tell him that.
Ooh, all right. Let's not put Mikey in trouble. So you have a good day. Thank you for watching, and thanks for calling us.
Okay, bye.
All right, bye-bye. And thank you guys for being a good sport.
Thanks for having us. It was fun.
Yeah, I definitely have. I'm often at the market. My girl at Bridgetown is Sharon, like I told you. And Sharon texts me every single morning. I mean, religiously. She's probably the first person on my phone every single day. So good morning to you, Sharon. A shout out to you. I know she does a lot of fantastic work as well in terms of helping and feeding and stuff like that. So thank you so much, Melissa and Delbert, for coming. Melissa is vice president and Delbert is PRO, even though I think your name should be Dexter.
Okay. Well,
for some reason
your people in the back seem to like that name as well.
It might be a CBC thing.
Yeah.
All right, so wishing you all the best.
Yes,
and again, thanks to all the sponsors and thanks to you for playing. Remember, we also have another game show coming up on TV8 throughout the day. I can't tell you exactly when you can tune in for a chance to win. You just have to watch to find out. So you'll know when you see the theme come up, and one of us will come on screen. It's called A Piece of the Pie. So we're going to give you a chance to win a piece of that pie, not literally. It's going to be a wonderful gift, but keep on viewing as we have some crop over fun. Hey, coming up, we are remembering a young lady who we honored and still do, as she appeared on Morning Barbados back in 2021. We'll tell you more after this.
Morning, morning, morning. Good morning. Good morning to you. morning, morning, morning. Good morning. Good morning to you.
15 minutes to go now before the 8 o'clock hour. Now, yesterday, Morning Barbados the entire team learned of the passing of a young lady whom we featured in our Exceptional Youth segment. The first time she came to our attention was on September 29th, 2021, when she was interviewed by our very own Pearson Bowen about being a young entrepreneur. She was so engaging and passionate about the business that she was involved in that she drew us all in, and indeed all of the viewers who saw her. This morning, we'd like to remember her by sharing that interview with you.
Have you heard of Alexandra's Pilet's Cosmetics? Have you ever heard of it? Well, you're going to hear about it now. The person behind the business Alexandra's Cosmetics is Ashley Meers. Ashley Meers, good morning to you.
Hi, good morning.
Oh, your face is bright and beautiful today. Are you using Alexandra's Pilet's Cosmetics?
Yes, please. Thank you very much.
You're welcome. It looks well nourished, really. So explain to us what it is that you're using so that our viewers get a sense of what they can experience too. You're the living example of it now. What is it that you're using?
Thank you. Well, I really like to use my soap. This is the oats, apple cider vinegar, and lemon. This is great for toning, evening out your complexion. It's also really good for acne. Also, I just launched some face and body lotions that you can try. It really helps with the glow. We have a wide range of products that y'all can check out on the website, the Instagram. Yeah, I see it just came up.
There's a lot. But you're 21 years old and you're now an entrepreneur in the whole beauty, cosmetics, and personal care line. Why that particular area of interest for you?
Well, when I was 16 years old, someone taught me how to make the soap. So that's really how it started. I started out with one single type. This was the charcoal and peppermint, and it was wrapped in like a brown paper. And I would walk around my neighborhood and sell them in a basket. I started walking further like in town, and eventually I set up a little table in town on the bridge under the Independence Arch, and it just took off from there.
Wow, I mean, just the whole mint flavor alone makes you feel like eating it to begin with, but it's not edible, folks. Charcoal and mint, but you've been able to therefore to look at all the properties of the ingredients to understand how they impact the skin and skincare. So the science behind of it, who taught you all of that?
Well, I did a lot of research. That's the best thing is to tell you. I just did a lot of research on the products, and they actually do work because my customers give me great reviews.
Now, the whole thing is it's natural, and the more natural one uses in one clean cleansing regime, the better it is for the skin. So once again, walk me through the range of products that you have that are all natural that most skin types can work with.
Okay, well, we have 4 types of soap available. We got the charcoal and mint. We have oats, apple cider vinegar, and lemon. Neem and moringa, aloe, and cucumber. We have some clay mask. This is actually one of the clay masks. This is the most popular one. This is bentonite clay and apple cider vinegar. It's a detoxing clay mask. And we have 2 other types. I have hair care products too. So I have shampoo, conditioner, moisturizer, and hair oil. And I just launched the lotion. So we have 3 types of lotions available.
Listen, woman, you are one busy woman, Ashley. So where do you find the time at 21 years old when others are at your age are out partying and having a grand old time to do all of this?
Well, I wake up early. I finish late. So when I wake up, I will go to town and get my products prepared. I will go on the bridge and sell them, and then I will go to the supermarket, collect the raw materials, and I'll be making products until late in the night. This is every day I do this. Yeah, you see nuts is actually available in Massey Sunset Press this weekend. So you will have all of the products there available on the Nuts Caribbean stand.
All right. So we're looking at your online store at the moment, and this we can find on your Instagram page or your website, alexsandrapilet.com. And there she is, all fussy with what she's doing. But all of these are so delicious, but also natural coconut flavor as well, which is quite good. What support have you had in developing and building out your business?
Oh, well, last year the trust loan actually helped me with a $5,000 grant, and I was able to invest in packaging in terms of getting the boxes done and getting the clay mask done. So that was really good step for me. And I just kept going. I just kept pushing. I worked with what I have.
And you're pushing so hard that you're able now to export. Now that must really feel wonderful to know that your products are going beyond these shores.
I know, right? I shipped them to Canada, the UK. I just recently shipped them to St. Vincent.
Wow.
That was my first time shipping to the Caribbean. It's really nice.
So what's been
I
the
have
global?
them at over 10 locations.
That's brilliant. What's been the global support? What comments are people making about use of your products?
Well, the people overseas really like them, but I think the shipping rates are just a bit too high.
Yeah.
So we would try to work on getting the shipping lower so that we can export better. Yeah,
Now,
on a bigger scale.
Oh, that's fine. I can't wait for you to blossom into the beautiful things that you're doing and to realize all of your dreams. I'm told you're about to open your own store in a couple of weeks as well.
Yes, please. I'm so excited. Like, imagine being on the bridge for 3.5 years, and I'm finally being able to have my own store.
Wow.
I'm so excited.
So talk to us. Where is it going to be so that we can all come into your store?
Well, I didn't want to say it too much until everything is finalized. But y'all can stay posted. I'll keep you posted on the social media, on the Instagram, but it will be in Bridgetown.
It will be in Bridgetown. How did it feel though, sitting under the bridge, and people walking past you and thinking, who's this little girl here? And what did your friends think of you going out there, putting yourself out there to do your business? Did they think you were a little bit crazy?
Well, I think I motivate a lot of my friends. That's the truth. They always look up to me. Sometimes the braces get really hard because the sun just be so hot. Imagine doing it religiously every single day.
Yes, yes.
But I just keep pushing myself because I see so much in my future. So I have to put in the work now.
There's a hair oil. I'm looking on the screen right here. Look at the guy in the middle right there, folks. How his hair was getting lighter in the top of his head, and then the use of your hair oil was able to restore it. What's that particular oil?
Yeah. That is herbal hair oil. It's made with virgin olive oil, vitamin E, jojoba, coconut, and herbs like nettle, potai, chamomile, avena, sativa. And it actually works. It's available on my website for only $15. They're going to see $7.50 US. All of my prices are listed in US, but it's actually $15 Barbados, and delivery is also available.
I'm so hugely proud of it. The packaging is beautiful. The bottles, the tubes that you're using, all of this is really good. You must spend really a lot of time night on night just thinking up of different ways to approach it. How is that?
Well, there's a lot. I mean, I don't want to get too personal, but like I was pregnant like 2 years ago, and I lost it. So it just pushes me to be better when I become a mother again. So I just keep going.
I'm sorry that I had to awaken that memory for you, but it is good to know that you're that's took a whole lot off my shoulders, but I'm so glad that you're still so motivated to do what you are doing, and that the next stage is opening your own store. You're shipping across the world, and you're only 21 years old, and that says a lot about you, and it says a lot about your support system as well, because clearly the people who support you have given you the space to blossom in the way that you have. Just out of curiosity, where did you go to school?
I went to Coleridge and Paris.
Hello! Look at how I walked right into that. Listen, you don't tell me. And nobody in our production crew told me this. I'm telling you, I'm hugely proud of you. No wonder you're such an excellent entrepreneur indeed. You went to my school, sister. Did you know that?
That's great.
I'm telling you, I know, and my technical director as well, he too went to school at Coleridge in Paris. So there we go. See, there's excellence that comes from the school on the hill right there. And I think for all of those who would have gone to school with you today. And I want to encourage all of the alumni, so please support Ashley Meers and her business here, Alexandra Pile Cosmetics. Again, let's tell everybody where we can see your product so we can see it and we can purchase online as well. Where can we go?
Just visit my Instagram, Alexandra Pile Cosmetics. You can check out the website, or the online delivery is also available. And I'll still be on the bridge for like the next week or two. But the store will be open soon, so I'll let y'all know where it is within another week.
For sure, you gotta let me know, Coleridge and Barry. We have to support each other, for real. So folks, you can go to Alexandra Pile Cosmetics on Instagram, or you can send her an email. Her contact number is right there at the bottom of your screen, 233-9120, 233-9120, or Alexandra Pile Cosmetics at gmail.com. The website is simple, alexandrapile.com. And let's support this young budding entrepreneur who's doing brilliant things, shipping abroad, opening her new store in a couple of weeks, and just being online and presenting all of these natural beauty, cosmetic, and hair care products, skincare products as well. Ashley Meers, thank you for joining us this morning. You have left me with a whole host of inspiration today. I'm sure thousands of people who are watching as well. I encourage all of them to support you as you do what you're doing so well. Thank you.
Thank you so much for having me. I really appreciate it.
You're welcome. Thank you so very much. Courage and Barry to the world. Indeed. All right. Yeah.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
Morning, morning, morning. Good morning. Good morning to you.
All right, we have just under 2 minutes left now in the show. We told you sometime last week about AI. We had Dr. Derek Murray in, and coming up tomorrow over at Sky Mall, they're going to continue telling us all about this seminar. It's entitled AI, Artificial Intelligence, and it's a free seminar. It's going to be at the Sky Mall seminar room. You can call Dr. Derek Murray at 824-2696 for registration. It will feature Dr. Colin Depredine, and he is a computer scientist at UEK Phil, Christopher Welch, a new media artist and photographer and computer coder, and Stephen Williams, who's a cybersecurity expert and technology entrepreneur. So that's all coming up tomorrow at Sky Mall. Make sure you're a part of it. Happy 4th to those of you celebrating. Happy 4th to my sisters and friends who are celebrating over in a way. My 4th of July last year looked a little something like this. My brother-in-law, well, that was me making a bean stew. That's in one of my vegan phases until I saw that wonderful, wonderful grilled chicken, and the rest of the family kind of getting things together. Usually it's a big old celebration. So we had a wonderful time. And I know that's what the Barbadians do too as they prepare for the celebrations for independence. So happy Independence Day. That's my brother-in-law outside grilling some vegetables and meat and corn and all that wonderful stuff. So happy 4th of July, happy Independence Day to all Americans and all Barbadians who live in America, and we'll be celebrating today. Coming up tomorrow on Morning Barbados, we're telling you all about Mr. Executive. That's put on by the St. Leonard's Boys School. Winston Cumberbatch, retired teacher, he's going to be here with us to talk more about that. Plus, talking HR with Hermab, we're talking about unleashing organizational innovation with a skills-based approach. That's tomorrow. Caribbean Home Help for elderly care, they will be here. In the last few days, they've launched some new services and launched officially. We're going to share that with you. And plus, it's Doc Talk with Dr. John Parker. That's all coming up tomorrow on Morning Barbados. As you go through your day, do remember to wear your smiles, and we hope you come on back tomorrow. On behalf of the entire crew, have a great day. Bye-bye.
Wake up, wake up, wake up, wake up. Barbados, get up. Good morning.